Something that's been on my mind since the end of Volume 5 is what exactly happened to Neptune, and for that matter, the rest of Team Sun. Because Neptune, at least, was a fairly prominent character back in Volume 2 and Volume 3, being the romantic love interest of Weiss at that time, and then fighting the Vital Fighting Festival, and then when Beacon fell, he went back to Mistral along with the rest of his team, and Sun went to Menagerie to follow Blake. And they went back to Mistral, Haven Academy, the place that Team Ranger, that RWBY, Jean, Ren, and Nora, along with Crow, were at for all of Volume 5. And Neptune was not mentioned once. Or the rest of his team. You know, Scarlet and Sage, I believe. Not that they were really too prominent other than the fight in the Vital Fighting Festival, but they're still, you know, hunters in training, and they would be, I'd say, fairly effective in a fight, especially when you're trying to defend the entire Haven Academy, defend a relic that could lead to the destruction of the entire world that they know. But no, he wasn't even mentioned. Yeah, Crow went off to look for all the other professional hunters and everything that were there, and all of the students were supposedly sent away, but RWBY and everyone else didn't try to contact Neptune. Granted, RWBY, being a little bit scatterbrained as she is, may not have tried to contact him, but I still find it really strange that he was just not mentioned at all. Not even, granted, when Sun and everyone else arrived, we didn't really get to see much interaction of them as they arrived or post the end of the battle. After the battle finished, we saw maybe a minute, just the reunion of Team RWBY, and then the volume ended, so we might get more expansion on that at the beginning of Volume 6, but for all we know, Neptune and his team could be dead. Like, I doubt that's the case, especially with Neptune being voice acted by Carrie Shawcross, one of the main writers of the RWBY series as a whole, so they're probably not going to kill him off. Not to mention that we haven't even seen Neptune's semblance yet. But the fact that they've introduced little things about his character, like his fear of water, that he has a pretty decent ability with his gun and trident, not to mention that his trident can control electricity and shock people, as he demonstrated back in the Vital Fighting Festival, that, you know, he's a fairly effective fighter, he's got skills, and they've put little quirks into his character that I don't think they'd write him off just out of nowhere. Granted, there are quite a few characters that we haven't seen since Volume 3, like him, like Neo, like a lot of the other people who were in the Vital Fighting Festival, and that makes sense because the entire series had to shift gears and the global communication system was down, or is still down, but it's still, since they were in Haven Academy and they were going around Mistral, like, especially with once Weiss and Yang got there, I'm surprised that Weiss, considering at that point, I'm guessing her feelings toward Neptune didn't really change that much, that she still kind of liked him, I'm guessing. Granted, that probably wasn't prominent in her mind, but I feel like she would have mentioned something, just like, oh hey, Neptune was from Haven Academy, wasn't he? I wonder where he is. Even just something offhand like that. They didn't even make a mention of it in the series. No one decided to go looking for him. No one decided to go looking for any of the other students, because the main fighting force of the entire Haven defense team were students. Was Team RWBY, Team Juniper, and that was who was fighting the main battles. I mean, yes, Crow and Oscar were there, but Oscar's still probably on the student level, even though he was being controlled by Ozpin during the fight, but majority of the fighting force were students, so having more students would just be more helpful, wouldn't it? So why wouldn't they have gone to get Neptune? As I mentioned, I don't think he's dead, but we also don't know if he lives far away from Haven Academy. We don't know his proximity to it, so if the students were just sent away, granted, the academies have dorms, so, well, Leo probably, or Lionheart, emptied out the dorms, sent all the students home, so he was probably somewhere else, but upon, well, what's likely going to happen is with Volume 6, after everyone in Mistral is finding out that Haven Academy was attacked and there was a pretty large battle there, that the students and anyone else who is associated with Haven Academy or has some fighting experience and wants to know what the hell's going on, they're probably going to start heading towards Haven Academy, and that's when we might see some reunion between them. But it's just really weird, as I've stated multiple times already, that no one even mentioned him. And with how prominent he was, like, I think he was introduced right in Chapter 1 of Volume 2 when there was that giant food fight. I think the food fight was in the first chapter, and Neptune was introduced right since then and was a prominent character all the way up till the end of Volume 3. So a full 2 volumes we've gotten out of this character. We don't know his semblance yet, as I already mentioned, so there's still things to develop with his powers, with his abilities, and also with his character. And we've got nothing the past 2 volumes. So there's plans for him, no idea what they could be, whether he's just going to be another character that joins up with Ozpin's faction and he's just another fighter, or there's going to be something else. Maybe he's got family ties to somewhere. Granted, they're really only going to the family history of the main Ruby and Juniper cast, so we'll have to see what happens with that, because as the series continues, it'll be more expansive, and they'll also go into more characters' backstories as they've covered the main characters that we already know. So there's plenty of possibilities that they could go with Neptune, but as for what's happening to him right now, he could be dead, he could just be at home, he could be... have traveled somewhere else to... do something, maybe go on a mission, protect another village, something along those lines. Or maybe he just didn't even make it back to Mistral in general, because, as I said, the last thing we heard was just like, alright, we're going to head to Mistral, Sun is going to go after Blake and Menagerie. Little stalker he is, but just, we don't even know if they made it back. They could have got attacked by Grimm on the way there and just be lying dead in a ditch somewhere. Doubtful that's the case, because they built on his character, but anyways, it's just interesting to think about what they could be doing with his character, which seems like nothing right now. But let me know what you guys think. What do you think Neptune's up to? And I really want to know what your guys' opinions are on this, because I can't really see anything that they're doing with him at the moment, which of course they aren't, so I'd like to see what your theories are and what you'd at least like to see from Neptune in the future. I'd like him to become more prominent, but not end up with Weiss as they were trying to imply beforehand. I'm still, at this point, pro Jean and Weiss, because Pyrrha, unless they can bring her back, which would really be nice, but anyways, yeah, just let me know what you think. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.